All right, what's going on here? Welcome to the channel. I want to thank you guys first and foremost for clicking on this video. It's the first video I have on this channel. Excuse me. I've tried this YouTube thing before, didn't really work out. I got a little bit of a following, didn't really work out, so I'm gonna give this another go. You see the title, you see the topic we're gonna speak about today. Anthony Edwards speaks on Michael Jordan, speaks on the 90s rather, and says, well, Michael Jordan was really the only guy out of that era who had skill or who had any real kind of basketball ability. Everybody else was just kind of, big and strong, or, they had that one thing that they brought to the game, not really a myriad of skill set, if you will. Here's what I got to say about that. It seems like there's an agenda going on, particularly from the younger crowd, both younger players and younger fans, to kind of discredit the 90s, the 80s, kind of not necessarily mock that era, but definitely belittle that era. Maybe it's to boost their own era. Maybe it's to boost the people that came right before them, the Tim Duncans, the Shaqs, the Allen Iversons, the Kobes, and some of the guys from the 2010s who just retired, like Gordon Hayward and them, Kemba Walker. And I know it sounds kind of crazy putting Kemba Walker, Gordon Hayward in the same conversation as Shaq, Kobe, Tim Duncan, but like I said, it seems like there's an agenda. I think Ant Edwards, I think he's only like 21, 22 years old. A lot of these other guys are 21, 22. What it looks like is a lot of these guys are trying to make Jordan look like he was head and shoulders above the league, and we all know he was, right? But in a way where it was Jordan all the way up here and everybody else was just kind of there. And history repeats itself. This is the same way people talked about Wilt, Bill Russell. Oh, it was only those two guys dominating a league full of plumbers. Of course they were going to ball out. Of course they were going to have those stats. The plumber argument's not new. The plumber electrician argument is not new. Let me tell you this. I'm going to try my best to involve LeBron in this as little as possible, right? Because we all know how those Bron sexuals are. Bron Vestites, Bron Dashians, if you will. Me personally, my stance is this: Michael Jeffrey Jordan, rather, is the greatest basketball player of all time. He's the greatest. You talk about best player of all time, basketball ability, basketball wherewithal, basketball IQ, then yes, I will say LeBron is the best of all time. When you talk about greatness, you talk about legacy, accolades, and lore, it's Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Excuse the cars going by. I just pulled up to make this video. Yeah, it seems like people are trying to discredit, the 90s and this and that, and make their era seem like, we are the most skilled. And I'm not taking that away. I'm not saying they're not. This is the most skilled era of all time. Yes, it is. But there are also a lot of rules that kind of make it to where, the offensive player can flourish more so than before, right? It's not like they're playing in that early 2000s Kobe era where Kobe was putting up 35 points a game, where the pace was like 95 points a game for a team. No, they have the freedom to do whatever they want. And when you have the freedom to do whatever you want, you had better take advantage and you had better flourish, which these guys are doing. Now, as far as the only skilled player was Michael Jordan argument, that's not fair at all, because are you going to tell me that Tim Hardaway wasn't skilled? Killer crossover, a lot of which you youngsters try to replicate. Are you going to tell me Rod Strickland wasn't skilled? Kyrie Irving's godfather. A lot of y'all look up to Kyrie Irving. A lot of you youngsters, almost said young MFers. A lot of you youngsters look up to Kyrie Irving. Kyrie got his juice from Rod Strickland. That's his godfather. He taught him like a lot of what he does now. Are you going to say those guys aren't skilled? What about a guy like, this might not be the best example, but because he only played so long in the league, Arvydas Sabonis, Domantas' father. Now, again, he didn't play long in the league. There was a whole political issue with him coming over to the United States to play in the NBA. There was some, the Cold War going on, Russia, the ties between Russia and the US of A were not the best. So, I mean, that aside, you're going to tell me Arvydas Sabonis wasn't skilled? And if you never watched Arvydas Sabonis play, go watch him play. Go look up his highlights. Go look up his overseas highlights. Had he spent his, and I've said this to my friends in the past, and I will stay on this hill, I'll die on this hill. If we had seen Arvydas Sabonis play in America, play his prime in America, we wouldn't be as shocked and amazed by Jokic. And don't get me wrong, I love Jokic. Jokic he's game changing. He's the best player in the world. But he was Jokic before Jokic, right? That's another skilled guy. Who's another guy just off the top of my head, really skilled? Like Scottie Pippen was skilled, right? He was a great on-ball defender, help defender, facilitator. He was the facilitator of that, what's the word, dynasty, right? So where's this coming from? Again, I think it's, excuse me, I think this is all an agenda to push LeBron James as the GOAT, right? And I'm going to say, I already said I'm going to try not to bring him up as much as I can. There are those who are trying to push LeBron as the GOAT in a way that's kind of throwing dirt on Michael's legacy, right? But then I think there's the people that try to push LeBron as the GOAT, and this is the second demographic I'm speaking of, are the young NBA players are trying to push him as the GOAT just so they could say, oh, I played in the league at the same time the GOAT did, which, no, you did, my brother. That's Michael Jordan. But I think that's what's going on. Maybe I could be wrong, right? Because I think there was that draft interview a long time ago, like 4 years ago when he got drafted, where he said KD was the GOAT. Was that him who said that? Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But I want to say he said KD was the GOAT, like early on. Now we all know that's his favorite player. You're going to stick up for your favorite player. I used to do the same thing. Like when I was in high school, Dwight Howard was in his prime, and I know now that's the whole Dwight Howard thing is not aged well. But back in high school, Dwight Howard was my favorite player. And I used to say all the time, oh, Dwight Howard's like a top 2, top 3 player, which a lot of people had him as. But for the most part, his limited offensive skill set is kind of one-dimensional, just kind of drop step to the middle, hook shot, or, offensive rebound dunk, kind of put him in a box. But, that was me, a young person, sticking up for my favorite player. So, I mean, maybe I could be wrong with all this, but this is just what I think. This is just what I've noticed with a lot of fans, a lot of content creators. But yeah, man, this whole thing about we done with the 90s, we'll never be done with the 90s, just like we'll never be done with the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, even the inception of the NBA in 47, when they were doing set shots. We don't even call them set shots anymore. We call them spot up. He's a spot up shooter. It's a spot up jump shot. When they were doing set shots where they would stand with their feet so close together and they would flick the ball up like that, right, with two hands. Even that era, it's all important. It's all building blocks. It's layers to where we are today. And it's not just basketball. It's history. It's life. That's why we study history. So one, we don't make the same mistakes. And two, we could pay homage, however the hell you pronounce that word. So that's my 2 cents, man. You disagree, agree, let me know in the comments. If you like the video, of course. New channel, I'm giving this another go at this YouTube thing. Subscribe, support your boy. It's Amandeep the Giant, man. I gotta go. Peace.